Hey everybody, this is Daniel with Bothersome Truth. Let's get right into it. So last night I was watching the CNN Green Party town hall with Jill Stein and her VP pick, Dr. Baraka. I was watching them get a hatchet job done on them by CNN and Chris Cuomo. I could rant about it now, but I won't. Look in the description or the card and you'll see the video I did about it yesterday. I'll just say that Chris Cuomo isn't good at journalism. I'm not sure he knows what that is. So while I was watching this, I was having a discussion with people on our Facebook page for Bothersome Truth and my personal Facebook feed, and I was talking about black on black crime, racial injustice, and police brutality. While I was talking about police brutality, they decided to bring up black on black crime as though they're connected issues. And these are some great, smart, intelligent African American men who are educated, but they were bringing up this tired, red herring, disconnected issue, black on black crime, connecting it with police brutality. And so because I'm hearing it so much that people think it actually makes sense to do it, I got to talk to you now and do a PSA, because obviously people aren't understanding that you need to stop bringing these issues up next to each other. Let's get into it. Listen, when we talk about black on black crime, we're talking about intercommunity violence. We're talking about violence that people commit against other people in their communities. Now, there's a lot of different reasons that people commit violence, lack of education, lack of opportunity, lack of political power. We could get into a lot of the socioeconomic reasons. That's another video. But people do commit crimes, unfortunately, and they do it in the black community. They also do it in the white community. And to the tune of 83% of crimes committed by whites are against other whites. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, I don't hear people complaining about that, but I digress. So when we talk about violence, you're most likely going to commit it against people in your community. You have things that bond you to the people in your community, whether it's socioeconomic status, race, religion, culture, whatever it is, income level, that connects you with other people in your community, if you even know who they are. The point is, we have commonality some kind of way with the people in our community. So it's not a surprise that in a community, if you commit violence, it more than likely is somebody who shares a significant commonality with you, such as your race. Now, let's get back to the white on white crime statistic, because nobody complains about that. Nobody blames all non-minorities for what one does, okay? I didn't see everyone get blamed for what Dylan Roof did, but when one person does something, all Black Lives Matter gets blamed, or one Muslim does something and we're talking about ISIS. There's a disconnect, because for some reason with minorities, we think one automatically makes all guilty. I could go into that all day. I won't. So when we're having a conversation about intercommunity violence, that is a completely different subject, and it has its own systemic issues, its own reasons, root causes, and solutions in order to fix it, and organizations out there trying to solve it. Black Lives Matter came about for a different reason. Nobody gets mad at Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure breast cancer because they don't address pancreatic cancer. They understand that they're in a particular lane. They're trying to address a particular issue. Black Lives Matter is trying to do the same thing. I say that because I work with Black Lives Matter. Get over it. So when it comes to police brutality, they're not the same issues at all. One of them is about what people do in proximity with one another. The other is an issue of power. One's proximity, one is power. And when it comes to power, what we have is not a level issue like intercommunity violence. Okay, what we have is a power issue, a dynamic that's not equal. And what happens is people who we've entrusted with power and lethal force are using it in such a way that is not responsible, and they are not held accountable for it. They are able to kill people, they are able to batter people, bruise people, assault people, and they're also able to violate people's constitutional rights without any kind of punishment until Black Lives Matter forced the issue and forced the conversation on a national level. They are not the same. And for those of you who say, oh, these are isolated incidents, no, they're not. We know Ferguson was doing it. We know Baltimore was doing it. If they do a report, they're going to find that it was probably happening in Milwaukee as well. This is an issue that's happening in more police precincts than you probably want to admit, because so many of you keep perpetuating the lie that you think it's just a few isolated incidents. I don't think it is. I think it's probably half of police precincts all over the country that have these systemic racial problems. So when we talk about police brutality, we're talking about a problem with the government. We're talking about people who should be protecting us. These are people who are taking away our constitutional rights. Look at the DOJ report. These are people who are making up things so that they can pull us over. We are seeing violations of power. We are seeing abuses of power. And the reality is these are not the same type of issues. Okay, I'm tired of hearing people bring these up because it shows me you don't really understand them. I'm tired of people who don't really understand race, especially from a minority's viewpoint, thinking that they can pull up a set of statistics and then they can talk about it and they know what they're talking about. I'm tired of that too. The reality is this is a more complicated situation than we realize. And when it comes to police brutality, the reality is we have government officials abusing their power. And we had a constitution, even though it didn't include us in the beginning, was written to try to prevent that. So when we talk about police brutality, we need to talk about statistics. We need to talk about facts. We need to talk about reports. We need to talk about what's happening in these communities to try to address this issue. We don't need to talk about intercommunity violence because they are not the same issues. It is not the same conversation. You can have a different conversation for that. I think we should have that conversation, but how we solve it is different than how we're going to solve police brutality. That's the PSA. You may think that I left something out. You may disagree with me. You may agree with me. I want to hear what you think because we need to talk about this in such a way that people stop bringing them up. They are not the same conversation. This is Daniel, and I'm out.